So Arnie Diaz and Randy Noon with Buyer Protection Group Home Inspection Service with us today, talking about the real estate market. And I wanted to get to one of the topics I found kind of intriguing about the articles this week, Arnie, was geared around how Tampa Bay area renters are so financially burdened. And I think we got a simple solution for them, right? They should just buy a home, right?
Should buy a home, yeah. I mean, you got to look at the tax advantage. I mean, people forget that we can still write off our interest on our taxes. So if you find a mortgage payment that is equal to your rent, which you can do right now because rents have skyrocketed.
Sure.
Then you got to remember, I don't know what your tax bracket is, but knock off 25%, 28%, whatever it is that your tax bracket is, and you can, and not to mention the property taxes are also tax deductible too. So, people forget about that piece when they're looking just at dollars for dollars. You can get a tax deduction off your home, and take advantage of the appreciation as well.
And I think with higher interest rates coming, we know that it's coming. Higher interest rates are going to have an impact on the market. It's going to affect affordability. So if you're a renter out there renting, and then now is certainly the time before that happens, especially as prices rise. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's a no-brainer from a math perspective.
I agree, and there's a lot of builders out there building in that $200,000 to $250,000 range, and you can pretty much get a mortgage payment based to what you're paying in rent these days for a nice place. It's crazy.
Arnie, I know that a lot of people are renters because of the market downturn and having to either turn over their houses, foreclosures, whatever they had to do at the time to get out of their previous homes. What's the turnaround time frame for somebody like that to get back into a house? And I know one of the other problems they have is they've got themselves into a renting scenario, and now the down payment becomes a big issue because either the situation they were in before, either foreclosure or whatever happened to their previous homes, even a short sale, now any equity they had is gone, and so they're sitting with not really a house that they have that they can sell and take the equity and turn it over into a new house, and
Well, I'll tell you, I think there's a lot of people out there thinking they don't have equity and they're wrong. There's a lot of people, and so we've always mentioned all of our websites, but check out TampaBayHouseValue.com if you're sure or unsure about whether you have enough value, because you can get a free home value report. We send a monthly report to you to keep you updated. Again, that's TampaBayHouseValue.com. But I'll tell you, my personal experience is we're getting sellers calling us that looked to sell 2 and 3 years ago and still think they don't have equity, but the prices have risen to the point where they can sell now.
I actually talked to...
That's not to say there aren't some.
I'm talking about the renters, though. The people who
they say they got out. They did a short sale.
That's right. They're renting right now, and that's the problem. Is that they'd like to buy, but coming up with a down payment is the
So it's a great segue to a new Freddie Mac enhancement that has come out that I'd like to announce. And so we need to bring Randy on the show more often. So great segue. If you had a short sale, you talk about foreclosure, but short sales is one of the big ones that were out there. We now don't have to wait for a short sale of a certain period of time anymore. You have to just have shown that you've reestablished yourself, and you have whether it be money in the bank, whether it be minimal, good job stability. Basically, the decision engine. Freddie Mac has a decision engine, and you run it through the decision engine. And as long as the decision engine comes back approved, then they don't have to wait 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is for a short sale anymore. Okay?
Well, hey, one thing, and he mentioned the down payment, and I think we talked about this. We've talked about this on the show before. Mm-hmm. I think a real simple way to start saving for your down payment. You had a great idea last week. Don't ask for Christmas presents. Bring me some money for my down payment.
Exactly.
And then don't overspend on Christmas. So many people this time of year, they probably have the money, or they could save the money over a few month period, but they dig themselves into a hole by spending too much this time of year. And then the house gets thrown to the wayside because they've spent the few $1,000s on Christmas gifts that quite honestly people really didn't need or want, and was overkill with helping you set up your financial house for success.
People think you got to put down 10%, 20% to buy a house. You don't. You don't anymore. And I was even at a builder event and ran into our friend Scott from D.R. Horton at the builder event Thursday night, and he's talking about how the building division or the builders are in such competition right now, and I'm like, that's kind of what's shocking to me, because the inventory is so low. I would think they would just be able to like fishing out of a barrel right now. you know?
Right.
But, they said that, you know, builders are really competing against each other, so you can really get a good deal. And, you know, having people, and then a lot of price ranges are above what FHA would allow, because FHA only allowed, you know, it's only 3.5%. And he said, and the challenge is having people come up with 10%. I said, Scott, you don't need 10%. And this is a builder, he's in the business, right? So, I mean, you don't need 10%. And he, you know, you can get in with 3%. Oh, yeah. You know,
Well,
and so it's not that much. So again, like you go to a builder, I mean, you tell me, you negotiate these things every day, Andrew. I mean, it used to be in the old days, you guys would come to me with a contract, and there's closing costs, right? And I would say, well, the contract says 200,000. Closing costs are, I'm making this up, 4,000.
That's rough figures.
Huh? Rough figures, yeah. I said, Andrew, can we bump? Do we have the value to bump the price to 204? Because appraisers are
Cover the closing costs.
cover the closing costs, you know. So everybody wins, right? And you only change the payment a couple bucks. And then, so that way you don't have to come up with the extra $4,000 for a down payment. So that's one. So now you only come up with 3%. If you can get away with just coming up with 3%, you have 3%. Can you come up with 3%? You have a 401k. Here's another idea. Most people have a 401k that was never
Retirement
touched.
money. Yeah.
You can borrow against it.
Yeah.
You can borrow against that money. So
Take gifts. There's
Yes.
even 100% loan products.
there's
Let's
even
not forget that.
100% loan products.
If you ever
go out
served
in
our
Pasco
country,
County, there's a USDA. If you're a first-time home buyer and haven't bought in the last 3 years, you're considered a first-time home buyer, by the way. There's bond money out there. You can get $15,000 from the state for down payment.
and on top of that, if you're a veteran, you've ever served our country,
Veteran,
VA
you're
loan, no money
100%
down.
financing.
You know,
I mean,
really-
there are
really
ways.
Great program.
You just have to talk to us. You can talk to us at 844-D-IS-DUO or at waterstone-tampabay.com. We'd love to talk to you about ideas to help you come up with down payments and your credit.
One other thing, and this kind of goes along what Randy said, because he's right. I think a lot of times you talk about, you know, the market and helping first-time home buyers, but in reality, more than half of U.S. renters are older than 40, which are likely people that went through a cycle. They bought
Right.
a home, hit a rough patch.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there that just kind of stick their head in the sand and say, oh man, I can't do it. A couple years ago I went through a rough patch, or maybe they're a little fearful because the market, you know, hurt them so bad. But the reality is it's a better long-term and short-term, you know, play. It's a better option.
The wealthiest people in the world are, you know, there's more wealth if you have a home. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
You create more wealth.
Yeah, no
Ernie, I
question
think that's an interesting point you made. You said if you haven't purchased a home or owned a home in the last 3 years, you're considered a first-time home buyer?
That's correct.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so
Wasn't aware of that.
again, you could have
Yeah.
gone through foreclosure 4
Right.
years ago. Now all of a sudden, guess what? You're a first-time home buyer again.
Exactly.
You know, so there's definitely a lot of incentives out there to help promote home buying, and certainly we don't want everyone to be a home buyer. I think that naturally, anytime the government gets involved to attempt to make everyone a home buyer or homeowner, we run into problems. So there's certainly a space for real estate investors. There's a space for renters. But there's a lot of renters out there that I meet and talk to that I'm just baffled at why they don't buy. And I think, again, some of it's fear, some of it's misinformation.
Well, some people come to me, you know, I'd like to buy with my credit's bad. Well, let's look at it. You know,
It may not be as bad as you think.
Maybe
There may be
or
some
there's
steps that you can take.
things we can do. You know, there's things you can do. It may not buy today, but get on a track to buy a year from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, whatever it takes.
What are the typical timeframes people have to wait after some of those bad events that might have happened to them?
Now, nothing, right? Now there is
Well,
no
a short sale, you can, you know, if you had a short sale, you
No,
possibly.
typical scenario.
Typical
I know there's some
scenario, like
products out
a
that are-
bankruptcy,
Right.
okay? If you go FHA, you only have to wait 2 years. Okay, foreclosure, you gotta wait 3 years.
And most of the
If
people
you go FHA.
most of the foreclosures and short sales were 2 and 3 years ago. Most of the people
Right.
are out of that by now.
Exactly. The conventional, bigger size, bigger home, if you're gonna go for a bigger home, it's gonna wait a little bit longer, maybe 4 years, maybe 7, depending on
How bad?
how
and
bad, the
severity
situation
and-
is. But, you know, again, short sales, you know, you don't have to wait at all. As soon as you reestablish, you got your stuff back together again, you just have that short sale.
And if you're looking for one of the best bargains in the marketplace, make sure to check out TampaBaySmokingDeals.com. That's with the G. We handpick some of the best bargains in Tampa Bay, and that includes Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Sarasota, Manatee. And foreclosure, short sales, trust me, they're a lot harder to find now. You need somebody to help you do the research to find some of the best bargains, because they're not just hanging on trees like they were a few years ago. So again, the best website to check out for the best bargains in the marketplace, and you can search the entire MLS on this website, is Tampa Bay Smoking with a G, TampaBaySmokingDeals.com. We put, again, best bargains all over Tampa Bay, about 150 properties on the website. We spent a lot of time and research putting that list together. Again, that's TampaBaySmokingDeals.com.